I started with the Young Turks because a guy named Hank Thompson, who was a comedian in Chicago, knew of me, and Cenk Uygur had gotten hired by MSNBC, and they needed guest hosts. And so Hank said, "Hey, there's this guy who has our special on Comedy Central. It's all politics. It's all political jokes. It's this guy, Jimmy Dore. It's called Citizen Jimmy. You should have him in, see if it works." And so lo and behold, the Young Turks opened up their door to me, and I walked in. And we've been working together ever since. And I remember Steve-O was there, and met Anna that first time, and JR. And it was, I was so, it was such a fun place to be. And so I was real thrilled and flattered that they invited me to be part of their group. And one of the funnest times of my life was the Bernie Sanders campaign. And so I just want to thank Cenk Uygur and everybody at TYT for including me in that. That was really, I went to Iowa and I covered Bernie here in California. I went to Las Vegas and covered the primary, the caucuses, and grateful to the Young Turks and to Cenk. And so I'm quitting and we're moving on. And so I'm not going to work with the Jimmy Dore show is taking up all my time. And we want to tour more. And that's really, really what I love doing. I do this. This has enabled me to then go out now and tour. And that's what I really like doing. I like live performing. I like meeting people. And there's nothing more fun than a room full of progressives getting together at a Jimmy Dore show, realizing, hey, there's a lot more people like us. And so it came time to move on, to move forward, and it's with a heavy heart. I hope they appreciate the work that I did at the Young Turks, and I thank them for providing me a platform to do it. So we all know what happened with Julian Assange. We covered it on other videos, and you're seeing the horrible news people. And I'm going to show you Tucker Carlson. He's going to weigh in on the Assange situation. And I'm going to show you this because the reason why, whenever I show you Tucker Carlson getting something right, when he is nailing something, the reason why I do that is because everybody likes to make fun of Tucker Carlson because he's dumb and he's this and he's wrong and all that stuff, right? So my point is, if this guy can nail it, that means everyone else could too, and they're just not. And for some reason, Tucker Carlson has been allowed to tell the truth about Syria, and now he's being allowed to tell the truth about Assange. Did he tell the truth about Venezuela? I don't know.
I don't know.
So I don't watch his show. But so that's why I'm going to show you. And I'm going to show you that a guy, if you think all the bad things about Tucker Carlson and his intelligence level and all that, which is the same thing people say about us, that we're dumb, and we are. And that's the whole point. The fact that if dumb guy like me can get this right, that just tells you that the people who are smarter than us are bought. And their mouthpieces. So let's watch. Here's Tucker going to talk about Julian Assange.
Well, if you
What about the Jimmy Dore show? Does that continue? Because people are trying to figure that out right now.
Oh no, this show's not going anywhere.
How come?
So no, I own this show. No, so they own used to be the Young Turks own this channel, and then I own it now. So I purchased it from them. So this used to be theirs. It's not. So I bought it. I officially quit working I was only an employee for the Young Turks actually for a year. I was always just an independent contractor. But when Steph quit her job as a teacher, I became an employee so I could get health care. And that was for last year. And then in December, I decided we're going to try and get health care another way. And I quit being an employee. And for a lot of reasons, but you know me, I'm not a corporate guy, right? So that happened, and they were like, "Hey, should we make an announcement?" And I was like, "No, what's the big deal? I'm still doing aggressive progressives. I'm just not a technical." But now I'm not going to be doing aggressive progressives anymore, and so we're making more of a break in that regard. So. Again, big thanks to Malcolm and to Steve and to everybody who Assange.
Well, if you watched a lot of the coverage of this story today on television, you likely came away with the understanding that Julian Assange is some kind of Russian spy who's in trouble tonight because he stole classified documents from the U.S. government. That is not true. It's factually incorrect. Saying so is not a defense of Assange. We're not here to promote him or excuse any number of things he said over the years that we disagree with quite a lot. But just so it's clear, whatever his sins, Assange did not steal documents from the United States government. He did not hack the DNC servers. He didn't break into John Podesta's Gmail account. There is no proof that he is working for the Russian government or ever has worked for the Russian government. Assange has never been charged with any of that and wasn't today, no matter what they tell you. If you're upset about the theft of classified documents from the U.S. government, and there is reason to be, we already know who did that. A 22-year-old Army private named Bradley Manning, now called Chelsea Manning.
So let me just stop it for a second and say, so he's already laid out the case. Julian Assange didn't do anything illegal. How is it that he knows this? How is it that he can kick off his coverage of this story by proclaiming to his audience at Fox News? Fox News viewers are now hearing that Julian Assange did nothing illegal. So they are more informed than CNN and MSNBC's audience right now and half of YouTube. Right now. So what is that? So how is this happen? That's why I show Tucker Carlson, not because I'm a fan or to promote him or to prop him up, but to show you how bad everybody else is. And to show you that people like Neera Tanden are actually pushing fascism. They're the danger to journalism. Isn't it weird? So that's why I'm showing you this. And now he's going to go on and tell you who actually did hack into the government's computers and steal documents from them. He's going to tell you.
In 2013, Manning pleaded guilty to stealing secret material and got 35 years in prison for it. Shortly after that, Barack Obama commuted Manning's sentence. This allowed Manning to leave jail decades early, go back.
The part he leaves out here is that Chelsea Manning was tortured by Barack Obama so that Chelsea Manning would lie and say that Julian Assange helped her in getting those documents. That's what they wanted. Why did they torture Chelsea Manning? They already had Chelsea Manning. They knew who did it. They knew Chelsea Manning did it. Why would they torture Chelsea Manning? Because they wanted Chelsea Manning to lie and say that Julian Assange committed a crime and helped Chelsea Manning get those documents, which he did not, which is what Tucker Carlson just said. So that's why Barack Obama tortured Chelsea Manning. People leave that out of the story, and so is Tucker. So I wanted to put that in. There we go.
On television as a commentator and then run for political office. So if your real concern is America's national security, you have someone to be angry at, Barack Obama. And yet, strangely, nobody is. Instead, they're furious at Julian Assange for printing the documents that other people stole. Quote, Julian Assange has long been a wicked tool of Vladimir Putin and the Russian intelligence services, wrote professional moralizer Ben Sass, who also serves in the U.S. Senate. He deserves to spend the rest of his life in prison. Wicked? The rest of his life in prison? Idi Amin ate people and never faced this kind of scorn. Not even close. Nor, for the record, was Amin ever extradited. He died at 78 years old in his own bed, leaving behind 43 loving children. So what's going on here? A couple of things. First, Julian Assange embarrassed virtually everyone in power in Washington. He published documents that undermined the official story on the Iraq War and Afghanistan. He got Debbie Wasserman Schultz fired from the DNC. He humiliated Hillary Clinton by showing that the Democratic primaries were, in fact, rigged. Pretty much everyone in Washington has reason to hate Julian Assange. Rather than just admit that straightforwardly, he made us look like buffoons, so now we're sending him to prison. Instead, they're denouncing him as, you guessed it, a Russian agent.
So Julian Assange scoops the entire news media time and time and time again. And instead of them saying, hey, he makes everybody look like idiots, he does our jobs better than us, and he exposes the powerful who we are lapdogs to. And that's why everybody hates him. That's what he just said. Why is he allowed to tell this truth? I have no idea why he's allowed to tell this truth on Fox News. But guess what? Fox News viewers are getting more truth about Julian Assange than Chris Hayes viewers. Doesn't that make you pissed off? Because it should. People love to hate on Tucker Carlson. He is right now informing his viewers better than everybody else about Julian Assange. Isn't that weird? It is weird. It is weird. So why is he allowed to do this? That's my question. But and the bigger thing is, if he's getting it right and I'm getting it right, that means everyone else knows it too. And they're just pretending to be stupid because telling the truth takes courage and it'll lose you a lot of friends. And when I say, I quote John Lennon, when telling the truth pisses off your friends, get better friends. Pushing back against Russiagate pissed off a lot of people. Pushing back against Russiagate pissed off a lot of... So when we push back, it pissed off a lot of people. And I'm getting better friends. I've got friends who appreciate journalistic standards and people being skeptical of the government and telling the truth. Those are the kind of friends I have now. So what did you want to say?
That they agree with him right now.
So that's what I'm saying. So normally he does a horrible job. So if he's able to do a kick-ass job and nail it on this, why isn't everyone fucking else doing it? If he's so bad, normally he's such a bad journalist, but he's nailing this. So the first question is, why is they allowed him to do that? But the second question is, well, then why isn't everyone else? That's why I show you this. So
go ahead.
Hang on.
Watch Senator Richard Blumenthal explain.
Watch this.
Justice should come to Julian Assange for his role in Russian meddling in our election, and the sooner the better.
What? For his role in Russian meddling in our election? What? Do you know that Jim Comey said that the DNC server wasn't hacked? Do you know that?
Okay, so once again, just to be totally clear, no one has ever shown that Julian Assange is a Russian agent. The indictment against him today does not say that. It doesn't mention Russia at all.
By the way, so when that congressperson says that he should be held accountable for what he did in the Russian hacking of our... That's not what this is about. This is all about the 2010 indictment. This is about Chelsea Manning and revealing war crimes. This isn't about the election. This arrest and this prosecution has nothing to do with the 2016 election, has nothing to do with the Russia meddling. That's bullshit. Again, Tucker nailing it, everyone else lying. Tucker Carlson holding the politicians' feet to the fire. What?
But that has not stopped virtually every politician in Washington from repeating Senator Blumenthal's line, including many Republicans. Robert Mueller nearly killed the Russia collusion hoax. Julian Assange is allowing them to keep it alive. You'd think journalists would say something about this. Assange is, after all, one of them. What do you call a man who publishes news for a living? Assange is no sleazier than many journalists in Washington. He's definitely not more anti-American. He's broken stories the New York Times would have won Pulitzers for, and yet many of his colleagues have disowned him. Oh, please, wrote Alexia Campbell of Vox. Assange is no journalist. We know who he works for, meaning Russia. Julian Assange is not a journalist, explained Jelani Cobb of The New Yorker without actually explaining. Ken Delanian of NBC, who doesn't so much cover the national security state at...
Ken Delanian doesn't... He's going to... let's see what he says. Ken Delanian got caught working for the CIA, and yet NBC gainfully employs him as a news person. In fact, he's their security analyst. Now you know why we live in the world we live in?
Of NBC, who doesn't so much cover the national security state as write memos on its behalf, noted that, quote, many believe that if Assange ever was a journalist, those days ended a long time ago. At NBC, when they tell you many believe something, it means they believe it.
Yeah.
So why all the hostility to Julian Assange? Well, we'll let former Democratic staffer and current CNN anchor Jim Sciutto explain. Assange's real sin was preventing Hillary Clinton from becoming president.
He is central to several cases. He's central to Russian interference in the election. U.S. intelligence views him as a middleman, a cutout, that he was, in effect, part of this interference. He's central, too, to questions about what the Trump administration, or Trump campaign, I should say, knew prior to the release of those materials, right? What were the communications between Roger Stone, et cetera? It's possible that this is something President Trump himself is not particularly excited about.
It's remarkable to watch this. It's bewildering, actually. There was a time not so long ago, really, when reporters didn't applaud the arrest of other journalists for publishing information. In 1971, the Washington Post and the New York Times published a trove of stolen classified documents about the Vietnam War. It was called the Pentagon Papers. Remember that? Liberals loved it. Books were written celebrating their bravery. As recently as 2011, the Washington Post saw the connection. Quote, a conviction of Julian Assange would also cause collateral damage to American media freedoms, a Post op-ed said that year. Quote, it is difficult to distinguish Assange or WikiLeaks from the Washington Post. And that's true. But that was before the Trump election. And
why is Tucker Carlson the one telling us this? Doesn't that make you want to just spit fire at every jagoff talking head? And Bernie pushes the goddamn stupid Russiagate thing. It's such a failure. It's such a falling down on the job. It's so contributing to the thing that's going to take you down. You know that the whole Russiagate thing is just being used so the security state can broaden its power over social media so they can silence fucking voices like Julian Assange and this show and any other person who pushes back against the wars and the security state. Anybody. And every jagoff on the left who pushed Russiagate breathlessly like a fucking moron, propping up Trump while they're wagging their finger at places like this. Why is this guy getting it wrong and every other motherfucker getting it right and every other motherfucker gets the story wrong? Why is that? Because they're bought and paid for and they're not journalists.
total war that followed, a war in which the media have definitively chosen a side. Press freedom? Sure, as long as we agree with your politics. The First Amendment? Well, that all depends. Who'd you vote for? The guardians of speech are now the enemies of speech. The people charged with policing power are now colluding with power.
This is amazing.
There's a reason you see John Brennan on NBC all the time. They're all in the same team now. We're not saying any of this to defend Julian Assange. We just want to be absolutely clear about who hurts this country more, and it's not him.
Wow. Wow. Fox News viewers are being better informed about Julian Assange than Jake Tapper's viewers, Chris Hayes' viewers, Rachel Maddow's viewers, Brian Williams' viewers. Fox News, Tucker Carlson's audience, is more informed about Julian Assange right now. Doesn't that make you sick? Because it should. What it should do is let you know that we're living in an oligarchy and journalism is completely compromised. And it will be just a matter of time before they silence us. It will be. As soon as we make a difference, well, they already started smearing us. So we are making a little bit of a difference, enough for the Washington Post to smear us and enough for CNN to smear us. And Mother Jones, fucking Mother Jones, what a joke of a fucking rag magazine that thing is. So there you go. Fucking jagoff dummy like me can see this thing clear, and fuck faces like Tucker Carlson can see this thing for what it is. But somehow Brian Williams can't get it. Rachel Maddow slips past her stupid brain. Chris Hayes, not sure. They're all frauds. They're frauds. And why he's allowed to tell the truth about this, I still don't know. I hope I can bump into him someday somewhere and ask him. I'm sure he would tell me. Hey, Tucker, Jimmy Dore, why do they allow you to tell the truth about Syria and Julian Assange? Isn't that a no-no? Rupert Murdoch doesn't want you telling the truth about Chelsea Manning or Julian Assange. Come on. This is so fucking weird that they allow him to do this. I think the only thing is they must think this hurts the Democrats or something. I don't know. But he's nailing it. So there you go. You want to know about Julian Assange? You have to go look up this show or Tucker Carlson. Or Tulsi Gabbard. Go to Tulsi Gabbard's timeline because she doesn't equivocate on this shit. Like every other mealy-mouthed politician bullshitter. Okay, so there's Tucker Carlson telling the truth about Julian Assange and informing his audience better than MSNBC and CNN. Shame on you, MSNBC and CNN. Shame on you. And he calls it out. They got the people from the CIA working. They hire them, put them right on their staff, on-air staff. John Brennan goes right on NBC's on-air staff. That's you're supposed to be debunking those guys and pointing out where they're lying. You don't ask the liar. You don't pay the liar to come out and lie. That is what they do. That's why CNN gave Corey Lewandowski a $500,000 contract to come on and lie. They pay the liars to come on and lie. They don't pay truth tellers. They didn't ever bring me on, or Aaron Matei, or Michael Tracy, or Lee Camp, or anybody else who was, or Kyle Kalinske, or anybody else who was debunking Russiagate. They never brought us on. Ever. But they will pay Corey Lewandowski $500,000 to come on and lie to you. They will pay John Brennan whatever they're paying him to come on and lie to you. Isn't that funny? And that's why we exist. And half the fucking YouTubers want to be those people. Go figure that. Half of them are, some of them already have contracts over there. Go fucking figure. So thank God for YouTube for giving me the ability to do this show as long as they're going to let me do it before they crush us. And for telling the truth about Julian Assange, because there's no more important story right now than Julian Assange. All that Jim Acosta shit was all bullshit.
No
that was
kidding.
that was all circus. That was
Stomach turning
circus. And now we have a real threat. Where's Keith Olbermann screaming about how our democracy's been taken from us?
Oh, I'm sure Bill Maher will do it tonight, Jimmy.
I'm sure Bill. I can't wait to tune in tonight to see how fucking wrong Bill Maher gets the story.
And we'll be tuning in.
Bill Maher will get the story wrong tonight. And if he doesn't, I will eat my I'll eat my hat. How about that?
I really like that hat.